Greetings, sailors, and welcome back to World of Warships. And well, not a new ship, but one you don't see that often. The Kunming, and it is actually newish. It's not that many patches ago it was introduced, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have been particularly popular, and I would guess that's in part at least because it doesn't have any kind of super ship gimmick. It doesn't have any combat orders, doesn't have any special consumables. Yeah, it's basically the Yueyang and then, you know, more torpedoes. Essentially. The description describes it as a variant of the Summers class. And if you look at the Summers, which I do actually have as well, you can kind of see, yeah, the torpedo arrangement does look very similar. Different turrets, but I think it's the same 5-inch 38 caliber guns. Where are we? Mark 12 guns. So it's the same. Yeah, it's US ballistics. It's just different turrets. Probably the most notable difference is the Summers has quad torpedo launchers. This has got quintuple torpedo launchers, and that gives it quite a nice spread. Obviously, the Yueyang has got the 2 quintuples, and this has got the 3 quintuples. But otherwise, they are the same torpedoes. They do the same damage. They have the same range. So yeah, I think they even load a little bit slower per tube. I'm not certain, but Yueyang I do actually have on this captain. I've got the fill the tube skill. Don't have it yet on the Kunming commander, which is the special Pan-Asian commander, who does actually have a torpedo-based skill, which is very suitable for a ship like this. So 6 hits gets you an increase in torpedo speed, and it's already a pretty damn respectable 72 knots, and gives you an extra reload booster charge as well, and also a cooldown, but it's mostly the extra charge that you're wanting on that one. But yeah, it's like 98 seconds on the Yueyang with that skill, and on this, with the otherwise same setup, it's a little bit higher. So yeah, it's kind of reliant on its torpedoes. It doesn't have particularly good concealment. 6.3 is not great for this tier, especially as you're always going to be matched up against another super destroyer. And I think the Delny is probably worse, but you're going to be playing the Delny a bit differently than this. This is kind of very much based around its torpedoes. But of course, you can't torpedo other destroyers because deep water torps, so you are going to have to rely on your guns somewhat. But the reload's not that great. 5-second reload. You compare that to, well, the Humphreys, which has you know, just about half that. Gearing is what, 4 point something, 3.5. Forrest Sherman's probably even quicker, 1.3. So yeah, and bearing in mind, you know, other super ships that you're going to meet, the other super destroyers, they pretty much all have better firepower in terms of their rate of fire or like the hitting power, basically. I mean, even the Delny. What is the Delny? Let's take a look at that for comparison. Which is... have I even got the Delny? I don't know that I do, actually. Tech tree. For some reason I thought I did, but that's another one I've not actually bought. No, the Delny's the tier 10. It's the Zorki I'm thinking of. Right, Zorki, which has got roughly the same, slightly higher, but they are going to be ballistically better. And probably do a little bit more damage. And they've also got a very respectable 10% fire chance, which for a small caliber gun is pretty decent. So yeah, you're not going to really wanting to be getting into firefights with other super destroyers, and a lot of just regular tier 10, tier 9 destroyers as well. 5 seconds is not that great, considering these are quite floaty shells. And of course, you can't actually torpedo other destroyers. I think I've said that already. So yeah, it does have a fair few disadvantages. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's quite on a par with the other super destroyers. They all do something a bit more than this does, and this is just like, well, Pan Asian Summers with an extra torpedo per launcher. That's good enough. So, yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. If they had decided that, okay, this is the top of the line and you're going to get smoke as well as the radar in 2 separate slots, then I could maybe have seen it otherwise being a bit lackluster. But, I mean, having said that, you know, it's a good spread of torpedoes you can put out. You just can't put them out that quickly. And if you do manage to bombard some hapless battleship with them, then yeah, it can do a fair bit of damage. They are at least very sneaky torpedoes. They have something like 800 meters detection radius, and given that they go at a, like I said, a pretty reasonable 72 knots, plus potentially even a bit faster than that, the extra 5% is going to be what, 74, 75, 76 knots, something like that. Yeah, certainly not the fastest torpedoes out there these days, but still pretty decent. So we're up against, let's see, there's a Lushan on the enemy team. No carrier, which is nice, but they do have the 3 radars. In fact, Brisbane's got radar, doesn't it? And yeah, it's a Humphreys. If I get into a gunfight with the Humphreys, I've already lost. The Vampire's going to kick my ass. Lucian, I honestly can't remember. And, well, if I get into a gunfight with the 2501, that's fine. Because that's a submarine, not a destroyer. So, yeah, it's annoying there's a sub, though, because subs are always annoying. So, yeah, it doesn't... Like, it's not fantastic as a cap contester, because you cannot torpedo other destroyers, but that's just true for the entire line. And it's not great for its guns, so you're kind of having to take a... Okay, you're kind of having to take a very, I don't know, sit back and see approach. We're going to try the B cap because there's cover in the B cap, so we are going to try capping in this early stage of the game, but it's almost certainly just going to get blocked by an enemy, and probably there's going to be an enemy with radar close by as well, because 3 of their 4 cruisers do have radar, but 3 of our 4 cruisers also have radar, so that's fine. It's just 2 of them are shorter range radar. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. We might get an extra use out of the reload booster. It's only a 10-point captain, as you saw, so there are certainly some skills on here that could be useful in terms of tuning it up a little bit further. Superintendent, I think, especially would be useful for the extra reload booster. So you could potentially, with this captain, get 4 reload boosters in a game, and that could be very, very nice indeed. But yeah, there's no way of getting health back, so destroyer encounters are going to be potentially just painful generally. I don't think you want to ever be trying to tackle a destroyer on... Oh, hello, there's Vampire 2 already. Tackle a destroyer on your own. I don't know if you're going to be Salem radar. I don't know if you're trying to stay unspotted. They don't seem to feel like... That's the Des Moines, okay. They don't seem to feel like trying to reset me, so... I might actually... Am I going to sneak the cap before the Des Moines gets in? Don't think I am. Right, not a lot I can do about that then. Yeah, trying to rush the Des Moines would be a real bad time for everybody involved. So, where to now then? Well, that's a question. The Des Moines just being in the middle is going to be annoying generally. Okay, there's the Lushan. I don't really know that. I kind of wish, at the very least, this had been bumped up to have the same range as the Summers and the Gearing, the 16-kilometer torpedoes. I feel like that would have given it something that made it feel much more like the tier 11 that it should be, rather than a sort of tier 10 and a half or something. Like, it's... I don't know. Of all the super ships, it feels the least super shippy, if that makes any sense. It just kind of feels like an alternate tier 10 at the moment. I mean, yes, it's got more torpedoes, but it's got the worst concealment. So, I don't know. And it's not like you see the Yueyang being played that much anyway, to be honest. So, in some ways it's more capable than the Yueyang. But to be honest, I kind of miss the old days when the tier 9 was actually the fun one. What are you doing, Des Moines? I'm not sure. It's also got, as you can see, really not great torpedo angles. It's inherited, obviously, the Summers torpedo angles, just from those sort of high, mid-mounted launchers. So, yeah, it doesn't have a huge amount to commend it, I would say. I mainly bought it because I was going to do a video on it, I guess. Like, there really wasn't any other reason. It's not a ship that, on the face of it, is that appealing. Right, the Lushan's still around here. I'm not quite sure why the Degrus is attempting to charge him, but it's not going to go well for them. This is a role it's not very good at, trying to ferret out another destroyer for an ally. You can, of course, take a radar. That's an option. But at that point, you are kind of stuck if you need to disengage. There's basically... like, one of the strengths of the line generally is those smokes, and I've always preferred the smokes to the radars. In a division, perhaps, the radar might be more useful / suitable, but if you need to drop a smoke to make a getaway, I mean, that is absolutely a great thing about the line. But they're long enough duration that oh, that's a wreck, actually kind of usable as well. So, yeah, I don't feel like... Oh, yep, they're getting out-spotted by the Lushan. I don't know where you are. So, yeah, like I said, if it had the ability for both, that maybe could have been a thing that would have been useful. But, yeah, so with the radar, I could have counter-spotted and then gone pew, 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 pew. But at that point, I can't try and disengage from this Pommern. And the Pommern secondaries. So, yeah. Right, one torpedo hit. Right, let's actually use a torpedo booster. So that's already a bit of my health gone. The Lushan clearly outspots me. That's not one I really want to try and tackle alone. At least one of the radars is gone. The Des Moines is out the way, which is fine. But, I mean, here's where some 16-kilometer torpedoes could have been jolly useful.
Our team has taken the lead.
Pommern understandably not really wanting to go forwards. The Trump is not particularly stealthy either. That's another one that I've yet to actually acquire. At some point, once I've got more coal once again. Of course, I spent a bunch of coal on the Brisbane, so yeah. I'm a little light on the coal right now. Right, you just ate a torpedo. Right, so because it's me and the Trump, and we have smoke back relatively soon. But yeah, here's where a better rate of fire would have been useful. And of course you can buff that with captain skills, but even buff with captain skills you're going to be struggling a bit. I think overall you're probably better off going for the torpedo skills just because I think the torpedoes still count as the main strength of this thing. Right, I don't have... There we go. Okay, I've actually managed to do so before my smoke ran out. But oh no, Stalingrad radar. Never mind. Never mind. It's a bit awkward. Only one torpedo hit so far. Stalingrad at least has got a shorter duration radar, so it's less of a thing to worry about. Okay, you're going the other way to Gross. So let's concentrate then on the Pommern, who seems to be going for the decap. And I think the Napoli's not going to last too much longer, so yeah. Sort of being left a little bit alone on this flank. Although having said that, the Marlborough's coming this way. Marlborough. Where's Marlborough? I have no idea. And we do have a sailor that possibly can shoot stuff as well. Yeah. I think some of those should hit. The individual torps, not that damaging. I mean, they're sort of, what, 18.8 medium damage. But just because you can put out, you know, a fair number of them, it's generally speaking going to be enough. And the fact that you've got the 3 launchers means that for a lot of targets you only need the 2 launchers. So you can either do a very widespread and hedge your bets, or you can use the 2 launchers and save the 3rd launcher for something else. So let's put torps against that Stalingrad. We are winning this one fairly comfortably, actually. I'm not going to get the ability to fire off though. So what's left? The Vampire 2. Let's see if we get anything into this Stalingrad. Maybe. It's not an optimal angle. If they've got Hydro going, then yeah, okay. It's not going to be hard to dodge those, and I think that's exactly what's happening. So yeah, they're not going to... Do I just open fire? This game's almost done. Let's open fire. Don't know if they're going to concentrate me or the easier, more close, easier to hit. Oh, I'm just failing at English right now. The more easily to Marlborough, yes, Marlborough. As we've just established, it's actually called the Marlborough. Yes. Me good English. Yep. That's AP, so that's not so much one. You can see the ballistics here, even at 10 kilometers. Those US shells. If you're going to give us the US shells, give us at least the US torpedo ranges as well, plus... But no. 13.5, that's your lot. Oh, a little bit of extra damage. Oh, there's the Vampire. And guns literally all I've got against them, so yeah. You're at least reasonably fast in a straight line. I think the speed without speed boost is with the flag, Sierra Mike flag, it's like 39 point something knots. It's not far off 40 knots. There are things that can outrun you, but you can still get up to a pretty respectable speed. Anyway, the Vampire got to live. 54k. It's not completely terrible. Yeah, that was a fairly not completely one-sided, but yeah, actually 2 people below the 2000 base XP. Well, it's better than. I mean, basically everybody except that de Grosser got over 1000 base XP, so everyone was doing something. 1300 is not terrible. Just, you know, not that high up the team list. Okay, this time we do indeed have a CV in play. And the enemy super destroyer is a Yamagiri, which doesn't have, of course, terribly fast firing guns itself, but it does have the ability to burst fire, and if you can burst fire and then pop a smoke, you can have quite a nasty little surprise for somebody. Of course, I don't get to do that. I just get to have no special advantages at all, just an extra torpedo launcher. Okay. I mean, you know, honestly, if I wanted to play a torpedo tier 11, the Yamagiri, absolutely. I don't quite... I don't know, the Kunming just kind of feels like it's a ship that's there because they felt like this line had to have a tier 11. They didn't actually have any ideas for it, so it was just kind of shrug. Make it tier 10 and a half, make it the same as the tier 10, only extra torpedo launcher, I guess? Yeah, okay. Anyway, Rugamo, right, we've got Conqueror, there's a Moskva with radar. That's a slightly worrying. Isn't that like a King of the Sea symbol or a... I don't know. I don't know, but it's mildly worrying. Yeah, so it's air spotting and the Moskva we have to worry about. Okay. Oh no, of course San Martin's that's the South American one. That one's got radar as well. Okay, 2 radars. I keep getting my Spanish cruisers and my South American cruisers mixed up because, you know, a lot of them are the same sort of sounding Spanish names. Oh, hello Moskva. Right, you might pop a radar anytime soon. I'm on horrible tenterhooks right now. There it is.
Engine boost activated.
So I'm just going to run away. I'm almost certainly going to get reset by somebody. Yeah, there we go. There's the incoming fire. There's Harugamo. Somehow I'm dodging all of these. That's not going to last, right? No, of course it's not going to last. There we go. It's kind of funny though. Right, and the Howland, I am getting properly beaten up on. Well, there we go. That's what happens if you try and contest a cap. Apparently. That was unpleasant. Am I going to die? I'm going to die. Yes, oh well. I did say it wasn't great at contesting caps and then proceeded to forget that I'd said that, so never mind. Anyway, what we can do, of course, I would ordinarily sit and wait for the outcome of the battle, but of course you don't have to do that these days. It does have the downside, though, of it might have been a super interesting battle. But I'm going to be impatient and just hit battle on. Hey, at least that time it wasn't like I've done in previous destroyer games not so long ago, just getting repeatedly torpedoed at the start of a match. No, that time it was getting radared at the start of a match and then just beaten up by everybody. That's totally different, right? Yeah, totally. Okay, another Yamagiri. Actually, an enemy Yueyang. If they're in a division with somebody, there might even be a radar Yueyang, or they might be here to smoke the San Martin. I don't know. Very few cruisers in this game. Both of those are radar. None of ours are radar. Do we have any radar? The Katsonis? I think that's it. Yeah, okay. It's even the same map, but it's a different setup, as you can see. No carrier this time, at least. So I don't really know where I want to go, to be honest. I think I'll swing over towards the ACAP side and see if I can ply my trade over there. And it has the advantage that the Shima's there. The Shima can spot potential threats long before I can. So, yeah, let's head over to that
Engine
flag.
boost activated.
So, a couple of things spotted. There is obviously someone in the A cap. We know where their submarine is. The Yamagiri is in the D cap. Here's where a radar would be useful. And I wouldn't even have to worry that much because I'd have island cover. But, yeah. Here's where longer range torpedoes would also be useful. What is that, 2 sets of 4? It's not the Jaeger then, it's probably the Z46. I think that must be the Z46. Ooh, I can spell. So yeah, but you know, even with radar, it's not like I can torpedo them. So yeah. Anyway, let's try and get. I don't know. This is kind of awkward. I have had one good game in this so far. I did have an attempt at recording yesterday, and frankly was just generally playing all round pretty rubbish, so I just gave up recording. But one of the games which was still a complete drubbing, I at least managed to get 130k damage out of it, and that was a combination of a map with decent sight lines for torpedoes and cooperative enemy battleships that were doing nice straight line things, and getting a good use out of the reload booster. But oh well, we know where the Jaeger is. The Jaeger is in C apparently. Yeah, it was still kind of awkward. It was still an awkward game. Yeah, here's where longer range torpedoes really would be useful. Yeah. It's just one of those ships you can't help but feel like, you know, it could be something if it was just a bit more. But as it is, it's not. So, yeah, I have really no choice but to retreat from that Z46. The Alsace is done at least, so we might try and go for the cap. There is also a Preußen in the middle that's kind of tempting, actually. Maybe I should forget the cap and go for the Preußen. Jaeger, of course, far sneakier than I am, but I can at least out-pew-pew a Jaeger. Of course, they can torpedo me and I can't torpedo them. But, hey. I have to say, the line as a whole, it's never been... Like, it's far from my favourite. There's probably somebody out there somewhere who counts it as their favourite, but I can't imagine there'd be that many people. And to be honest, I think the last tier where they actually feel kind of fun is the tier 7. The Chungmu actually, I don't think I alluded to this earlier, the Chungmu actually used to be pretty decent, but it has had 1 or 2 nerfs over the years. It's kind of funny, everyone was like, well, why don't you buff the Yueyang? And their response was to nerf the Chungmu instead. So I kind of feel like they don't really want this to be a well-performing line. They want this to be a deeply average, even maybe slightly underperforming line. And it has all the disadvantages of a very torpedo-reliant line, but on top of that you've got the disadvantage of, hey, you've also got the inability to torpedo other destroyers, which is just something other destroyers don't have to deal with. Apart from the Sashio, which is itself very, very sneaky. Right, we're literally just using that smoke to break line of sight. This is a bow-on Preußen, so I'm not expecting like great amounts of damage. This is Pommern AFK. That's not fantastic. We don't need an AFK Pommern. Hopefully they come back soon.
Smoke screen set.
Yeah, I'd really like to take care of the Preußen before bumping into the Jaeger. Just because Preußen secondaries could be kind of nasty, especially if they're built for it. Right, we'll spread those out a bit. I'm not entirely sure what this person's plan is anyway. There's the Dyson. Yeah, it feels weird. Just even comparing this to Yamagiri, which not only has the burst fire but the ability to switch between torpedo ranges. Even if they'd given this just that torpedo range switch, I think that would have made this just a much more interesting ship to play. But it's not. I don't get it. It's like some of the Super Destroyers get all of the stuff, and then this had basically none of the stuff. It's just kind of a bit weird. Right, we're getting a cap at least, and we are ahead on ships, but we are like quite badly down on points. Right, I was really hoping that Preußen would be dead, but hopefully they're occupied with other people right now. Right, Jaeger, you have got the fast-firing torpedoes for me to worry about, which is going to be a pain. So let's assume you've dumped those out against me. Yes, there they are. That's fine. That's only half of them, though. We should be able to get this guy. And the Preußen's dead. That's useful. That leaves us free to just cap. Come on. No, okay. Anyway. It would be nice to have another kill. I think we are getting some momentum back in this one, though. Right, we're about to get the sea cap back, and I could possibly just head up the middle. Take out that Lauria. I don't particularly want to charge into a Buffalo and San Martino. Plus, that cap is full of islands, so it's not great for torping into. So, okay, yeah, let's grab this. I've yet to have my special ability fire off. 6 torpedo hits is kind of a situational thing. What's the other captain that has a... Isn't it the Pan-European captain? But of course it's a lot easier to score multiple torpedo hits there, because they are, even if they're weaker torpedoes, you know, actually getting the number of hits is easier because they are much faster moving and much faster reloading. It's not like the top reload booster. It's got an almost, what, 285 seconds. What even is that? I don't know. It's a number of seconds. 300 seconds is that 5 minutes? I want to say something like that, so... Anyway, it takes a while. It most definitely takes a while. But we might score some torpedo hits into that smoke. They won't really have a lot of... oh, there's the radar. Warning about it. Not enough to get the kill, unfortunately. Oh, I don't know why I'm smoking, they're radaring. That's fine. I'm at least in a position where they can't hit me that easily, but the Kunming kind of can. Oh, and there's the Lauria. What are you doing here? I was so focused on what was happening on one side that I didn't even pay attention to what happened on the other side. Right, at least the radar's stopped. We might get this Lauria. I was thinking we might be getting some momentum back, but anyway. Oh, that was enough at once. Right, there we go. So we've actually gotten a charge back. I don't really want to fight the Yueyang, to be honest. Yeah, what do our torpedoes go at now? So we know for sure. 76 knots, so my guesstimate was actually fairly accurate. But, yeah, torpedo fighting the Yueyang. Okay, the Yueyang actually outspots me. I couldn't even remember what the Yueyang's, was it like 6.1 or something? Because they've now got that health advantage. In fact, they even have more hit points, total hit points than I do. Right, am I just doomed here? I think I'm just doomed here. There's not a lot I can do about it. So apart from the extra torpedoes, you'd rather be playing the Yueyang. There we go. At least I broke 100k that time and got the thing to fire off. I thought we might be able to pull that back, but this... this AFK Pommern is... Oh, now you wake up! At the point where we're already screwed. Oh, okay. Right, excellent. Oh well. At least I did some damage to the Yueyang. Maybe Venezia can kill the San Martin. But Iowa's still a problem. Are you taking torpedoes? No. I mean, better late than never. But yeah, this kind of screwed us, being 11 versus 12 for most of this match. Let's watch the rest of this one play out. I denied you that previous match, which, who knows, could have been super interesting, but yeah. I'm guessing the Venezia's out of smoke. Oh dear, okay. So it's now just the newly awakened Pommern and this submarine. Who is trying. Giving it a go. Had a little emergency, so I was AFK. Okay, well. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes things happen. But it still screwed us. But I suppose I must reluctantly acknowledge that occasionally there are things that happen that are more important than a game of World of Warships, which I know might be a slightly heretical statement, but is in fact true. More important things than video games. I know. Prepare to unsubscribe. And hit the dislike button and report me to YouTube for misinformation, probably. Yeah, oh well. Right, I think the sub might be a bit screwed. Yeah, they're about to get depth charged. With all the things. I wonder if the Yueyang... I'll have to double check actually. I wonder if the Yueyang is using the thing that gives more hit points. This has been a close game though. It actually looked like... Okay, not looking at the points. But it looked like we might be able to... do something. In terms of making a comeback, just based on being able to get them down to a very low number of ships, but yeah, we didn't get there fast enough. So, oh well, that's a pity. Are you going to run aground? You might, yes. I think you're going to. We might just scrape past, actually. No, 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 okay. No, they did not. San Martin, of course, does have its own torps. Oh, nice, okay. But they were reluctant to try and get the angle to use them because it's still fairly, you know, especially in Worcester, that can happen. That just leaves him versus the Yueyang, who is currently reloading their torps, but there's like 100 points left to go. If the guy that's been AFK because of an emergency sort of comes back at the last minute and wins this, well, that certainly will have been one of the matches of Warships of all time, as that phrase goes. Yes. And if you're going to use the Hydro, well, that's certainly the time to do it. But if he's got... I mean, he's got already a quicker reload than the Kunming has. If he's got Adrenaline Rush on top of that, which he quite likely does, it might not be that long till the torpedoes are back, so yeah. He just has to play for time, basically. He just has to sit on his hands and wait. And I don't think the Pommern even has the ability to get round now at this point. I think that's it. I think they win on points. Oh well. oh well, he could have tried, but they just had too much of a points advantage. They had a points advantage for most of this game. What a shame. No last minute comeback this time then. Decent amount of torpedo damage, but yeah, that was a pity. It's a pity whatever emergency happened. Well, hopefully it wasn't anything too drastic. It can't have been that drastic if they were able to get back to the batch, but yeah. I feel like that could have been a win, potentially, but circumstances conspired. Anyway, that was actually better XP than last time, I think, as well. Not by much, but yeah. It was also much better damage. So what is the concealment on this? 5.8. Okay. Do I have, like, the... no, I don't even have the specialist equipment on there. So you can actually much improve your main battery reload, which is already... It's already quicker. I suppose it's only got the 3 turrets versus the Kunming's 4 turrets. But, yeah, did I take captain's skills for that? No, it's just faster reload. Okay. 4-second reload is actually a bit more respectable. 5-second reload's pretty slow for these guns. So, I mean, it's supposed to be like, okay, yeah, you've got more turrets, but if you're angling or whatever, you've got basically your front 2 turrets facing their front 2 turrets, so at that point it's the reload that matters. If you're sailing along broadside, exposing everything to get all 4 turrets, that's less than optimal. So, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a hardship to recommend, to be honest, even with the special captain. I can't particularly see a reason to get it. I think you are much better saving off the huge chunk of credits for probably literally any of the other super destroyers. There are a couple of lines that don't have them at the moment, so maybe we'll get an even more lackluster one for the Italians, for instance, or for the French, although actually I don't know how you'd do that. A turbo Kleber would probably be a bit scary, actually. Or for the Brits, or like there's a couple of lines that don't have them yet. But of the ones that are in the game so far, this is easily the worst and easily the one that you don't really want to get. So yeah, it's got extra torpedoes and that's it. In all other regards, you might as well be better off playing the Yueyang or pretty much anything else. So there we go, that's the Kunming, that's the thing I wasted all my credits on, so you don't have to. And if you enjoyed this video, well, you can give me all your credits, or possibly just, you know, otherwise do all the usual things down underneath it. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.